use a lot of mica, which is a natural thing. I put things on top. I use a lot of fibers and pieces of metal. Basically shells. I can use just about anything on glass because it's a very, very versatile medium. The whole thing learning has been like, take 2 steps forward, you take 1 step back, and then 2 steps forward and 1 step back. I work on architectural glass. Architectural glass is made for putting in buildings, and sometimes people make a mistake. They've either built it wrong or they've measured wrong, and if they've made a mistake, they can't cut it. So they have to throw it away. I'm his market for the mistakes. So basically, that's what I'm working on, is other people's mistakes, which is kind of fun. I get to pick where it shatters. I have zero control how it shatters. And it depends on what I want to use to shatter them. Most time I use a punch, and that's the easiest way, but I've used a drill, I've used a sledgehammer. Oh, the sledgehammer. Occasionally, not too often, but like in the piece that's behind me, I wanted a very, very distinct kind of shatter, so we used a ball peen hammer. And so depending on what I use to shatter it, makes a different kind of shatter. But I only get to pick where I shatter. I had no choice to how it shatters. The nice thing is, after I've done my process, then I can cut them. I love the effects that the glass makes when it's shattered. Most of the time, I try to keep it kind of flat because it's easier to control and a much less chance of losing it. But sometimes I really push myself and I try to really contour the glass. But I just love the texture. And I love that glass is very transparent, so I'm able to add layers and layers and layers back. What I do is just add very, very thin layers of paint. I think my favorite part is getting to make the decisions. Like, look at it and say, now what do I do? Because I rarely ever know how it's going to turn out. I can paint similar paintings 10 times, not 10 different paintings, because they're never the same. Each one is unique. There's so many steps, and you put a step on, and then it takes you 2 minutes to put a step on and 20 minutes for it to be ready to put another step on. Sometimes you'll have a piece that it's a failure. You hate it. You put it away. It's, throw it away. I've thrown pieces away, and then even on my paper, it would come back years later and say, oh, maybe if I do this, and then you get involved in it again, usually make it better. Most important thing I learned is how to fix mistakes. I make lots of them, lots of mistakes. But every time I make a mistake, it's like, okay, what am I learning on this one? One time I'd sold a piece to somebody, one of my favorite pieces early on in my career. And I got a call from about 9 months later. It fell off the wall in the middle of the night and it's broken. So I said, well, just leave it alone. I'll come get it. I went and got it, and I wasn't sure if I could. But I fixed it so well that even I couldn't tell where the break was. Sometimes, in fact, that piece that we're talking about that broke, it has a big hole in it, big void in it. Well, they loved it. That was their favorite part of the painting, because they had a very rustic mantle right beneath it that had like a burl in it, big hole in the mantle too. It's like it matched. It's like, it's perfect. It's like, okay. I love the voids. Actually, it's hard to get a void in them. I have to try sometimes to make a void. Since I've learned, it's fragile, but it's not. It's really tough too, because it is much tougher than it was before it was broken. By the time I get it finished, it becomes very, very strong.